All right, let's get into this. Told you that the top 10 would set up for the first conversation. Louisville goes down to the not hostile crowd of Miami and beats those guys by 7, 38-31. And the thing that immediately jumps off the page for me is I actually turned this on. I've got this really cool feature. It makes me feel like I have more money than I actually do. I can put up 4 games at once on my 85-inch TV that took me about 7 Christmas bonuses to get my hands on. It says that there are 44,000 that were in attendance for this. I am calling your bluff. 24 minutes to kick off. I remember I couldn't, like, the screen had panned out pretty far and you could count about on 2 hands everybody that was in the stands. That's pitiful. That's pathetic. It's just an absolute shame how far Miami has fallen. Now fighting. They're going to end their season. I don't know if they're hosting, traveling to Boston College to get to 7-5, and you lose to year 1 Jeff Brom. Now, I like the guy. There was a time where I wanted him in Tennessee. I like the guy. I think he's legit. But year 2 Cristobal, with all that transfer portal talent, to a Malik Cunningham not present in Louisville, led by, my gosh, is this Jake Plummer's son or grandson? I know he's just a plumber. Dude,
Yeah.
what? What?
Yeah. Tell you what, I don't want to hear what I'm no longer here for, if I ever was, is I'm sorry. And Miami's a mess, but Cristobal's got issues. He has got serious issues as a head coach to me. Now, Plummer, that you just mentioned, he is a 5th-year guy. He's done some good. Brom can absolutely coach this game. Oh, my gosh, can he coach this game? Louisville was hot garbage in 2022. They were terrible, and he's got them at 10-1 with a very, very left field loss. You would think if they're 10-1, or if they have 1 loss, oh man, they must have got, Clemson must have been pretty good and got them, or North Carolina, somebody like that, somebody decent in the ACC. It was 3-8 Pittsburgh at the time. Yeah, that's a terrible loss, but that man can coach this sport. I don't understand how he does it so well. In fact, we should have known that the proof was in the pudding with all the good that he did at Purdue, even though he would have some up and down years there. I mean, it's Purdue. What do you want from the man?
Yeah.
When I previewed this game, and I did it briefly, but Miami was favored by 1.5, and I said, if you hand me the money to bet on this game, I'm going to steal it from you. I'm not betting on Miami to cover this. There's no way I'm doing it. There's no reason. There's no proof. They're not good at home in conference. They have no home field advantage, as we've talked about. They're wasting talent. Now it's younger talent. It is transfer talent that left where they were for a reason. But I'm not going to trust Miami or Cristobal or any of it until I have further reason to do so. And I just don't have very many reasons, if any, right now.
We love to do this. If I would have told you this going into this game, we seem to do this a lot. But let me just read some of this to you and just tell me. Let me just be truthful. Like, where are you leaning? All right, total yards. Miami outgains Louisville 486 to 470. Passing. Miami outpasses Louisville 327 to 308. Miami is shy 3 yards, 159 to 162. So Louisville outrushes them. But overall, Miami ran for 6.1 yards per carry as opposed to Louisville's 4.8. And they did it on they had just 3 yards shy on, what is that math? That is 8 carries less. All right. And then you have no turnovers by Miami, and you have a pick thrown by Louisville, and your time of possession is stupid close.
They should win that game 10 out of 10.
Tell me, you're going Miami. You're going Miami. So my question to you is,
wins 10 out of 10.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that you lost that game in coaching it from the sideline. If that makes sense. Like you it's not going to appear on the stat sheet, right? Because it doesn't. It actually favors Miami. So where you lost that game, you must have lost it on the sideline, because I have no other explanation for you.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, listen, they, like you just said, on route to their 327 through the air from Van Dyke, they also had Mark Fletcher Jr. go off for 17 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
They have Xavier, I never remember how to pronounce this, Restrepo, 8 for 193 and a touchdown. You get performances like that from these guys, you need to win the games, especially when it's Louisville. That was terrible a year ago. Not that you were much better, but you should be building towards at least winning these games at home like this. And the steps are just, it's like 1 step forward, 3 steps backwards for Miami.
Yep. I'm convinced that Miami's going to continue to struggle until they can figure out that home attendance thing. You got to be able to use playing to home to your advantage. You got to be able to do this, and it's just a joke. I was telling kid who's living with me, it's like, listen, man, if I'm a 5-star recruit and I've narrowed my choices, Miami's in there. I'm nixing them just because, like, when I play at home, I want it to be a wild environment. I want to have home field advantage behind me, and you just don't. It's piss poor how bad that is. Miami, you got a chance to win here and get to 7-5. If you lose, you go to 6-6. Either way, if I'm a Miami fan, I'm going, how much longer are we doing the crystal ball thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and I've been as hard as probably anyone on Cristobal, but I'm at the same time, I'm also saying, what the flip are we going to do if it ain't that? Now, that's a place where, and it's awkward because of the other allegiance, but my gosh, get Deion Sanders or someone super flashy, the flashiest person in Miami. Get them down there. Yeah. The way they use like they are, you know what they are? They're Texas A&M-esque, and it's funny because they played this year in the sense that NIL is basically their lifeline. It's their calling card. It's basically, to me, all they are right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, it sucks. It's weird because a lot of these guys will flourish at college. They'll probably go on to flourish in the NFL. They won't find a lot of wins on the way.
Right.
And that points back to the guys with the headsets and the clipboards and, doing all that.
Yep. I want to recap and end this segment by pointing out how Miami has gotten to 6 wins, and it's not impressive. Hosted Miami, Ohio, 38-33, whoop-de-doo. You hosted Texas A&M. Okay, good win at that time, but now looking in hindsight, Jimbo's out, so womp womp. You hosted Bethune, whoop-de. You traveled to Temple and got a win there. Yeah, I'm sure that was hostile. Lost at home to Georgia Tech, lost on the road to North Carolina, beat Clemson at home. That's about the only game I look here and go, oh, wow, good for you. But now, even in hindsight, what we know about Clemson, right?
Yeah.
You beat Virginia by 3. Yes, Virginia has improved, but still the talent gap. Come on, man. You lost by 14 on the road to NC State. Are you going to convince me that NC State is 14 points better than you on the road? I don't think so. And then you turn around and travel to Tallahassee and only lose by 7. I don't get you, Miami. And then you host Louisville, lose by 7. Now you're going to travel to Boston College. My point here, you have nothing on that schedule that makes me go, wow, man, good for you. Like, impressive.
Yeah, nothing tells me the trajectory is changing or is moving in a positive direction. The other thing I would add is, when you're 4 games in, you're a third of the way through your season. You're 4-0. You've done what you needed to do, especially because we all had major questions how they perform against the talent of Texas A&M. Your 5th game is when you lose that joke of a game to Georgia Tech. And granted, it wouldn't have been a pretty win had you not fumbled.
Right.
But you let that slip away. Think about the momentum. If you're 5-0, you're almost halfway through your season.
Yeah.
And you're 5-0.
Yeah.
And you saw the way that they played against North Carolina, even after that terrible loss.
Yep.
Think about what could have been, man. And this is what I just said for Utah in the last preview. Think about what could have been. And it all you're going to do is distance more recruits, more fans. Your fan base is already in the one of the most brutal spots of the sport.
Yeah.
You're just creating more distance and more reasons to shake your head and do all that.
For sure. And even of note, I'm talking about the Clemson win. I believe that's the game where Cade went rogue, is it not? Where he was supposed to give it and he pulled it.
I believe that's correct.
Nonetheless, Miami, you got some stuff to figure out. Louisville travels down to you, pulls out a 38-31 win. in Coral Gables.
Pandemonium reigns.